We learned of physical altercations that had occurred at New Hampstead High School. We certainly looked at the video very closely, immediately responded with our campus police department. We do have an SRO that is stationed at the school, but due to the nature of the video that we saw, we definitely got into a very deep investigation with that, and I'll tell you right now that we are criminally reviewing the behaviors that we saw on tape. We have identified the students that were involved. It is a small group of students that were involved, and it certainly does not represent the behaviors, and it does not represent the student body as a whole at New Hampstead High School. These individuals made bad choices. They exhibited in the behavior that you saw on that video. We do not condone that. We are reviewing it to the full administrative extent that we can, and we will deal with these students. They will be dealt with, and they'll be dealt with in accordance of our student code of conduct, which I can't speak specifically to discipline, but situations like this could certainly raise to a full expulsion. So we're looking at it from that eyeglass. Bottom line, you had a situation where the disruption of school day occurred, and it created really a threat, as we see it, to student safety. Student safety, staff safety is a critical component of our school day makeup. We're going through it right now and looking at it as well as a school safety plan. We're looking at a threat assessment as well. It's important to know that this is one of our biggest high schools that we have in Chatham County. There are some 1,300 students there that make up New Hampstead High School. We're looking at what options we have from an operational side to ensure the positive learning environment continues. And it's also important to know that with the altercations that broke out yesterday, there have been a number of things reported on social media. Some of them reported altercations as high as 12 that occurred. It's not true. The facts are that we've been going through and looking at it closely is that there were 3 physical altercations that occurred yesterday. 2 of them were connected, 1 of them was not. So the physical altercation that began at the beginning of the school day around 7 o'clock did spill over later in the morning. There was another physical altercation between 2 females that was not connected. But again, all students have been identified, and we are pursuing it closely and taking all administrative action.
Any arrests?
We do not have any knowledge on any arrest. It is an open and active investigation. The key thing to know is that we are looking at this with a criminal eyeglass. We're looking at it on disruption of school property, disruption of the school day, the behavior that we saw exhibited. You have possibilities of assault and battery involved here. So, you know, this is something that we look at, and it's an instructional moment as well for all schools and all children to understand how important it is to model good behavior and how important it is to make good choices. Bad choices that result in negative behavior are going to result in obviously negative consequences. There's a lot of things that can unfortunately occur for students in that way, but you not only are disrupting your own educational opportunities, but you're disrupting those of others as well. The school place is no place for fighting, battery, assaults, or any of that. As we put out early, we do not condone that, and the students will be dealt with.
What's your message to those students and parents that we've heard from and that are posting on social media about keeping their kids out today, or that they're afraid to return? What's your message to those folks?
Right. Our message is that we have a state-certified police force. We have administrators that are trained in managing the schoolhouse. We're looking at this as we have additional officers that we have placed at the schoolhouse and that will remain there, up to 4 additional SRO officers. This is a situation that we take case-by-case scenario. We have to look at it that way. But we are investigating this very deeply, and we're taking it very seriously. Safety and security is obviously a critical component of all the schools that we have. We have 55 schools across Chatham County Public Schools, almost 38,000 students that we serve. This incident, as much as it horribly looked on camera, is something that we look at and say, you know what can we do operationally to mitigate this type of behavior? And what can we do to get to the very source of the behavior as well? It's important to know that our campus police department is also working very closely with the parents and guardians of all of those students that are involved to know what the consequences are, and really to get at the root behavior of some of this that occurred. so that we can ensure that we have a schoolhouse that is not disruptive and that you're having good positive engagement and positive learning that's going on at the schoolhouse. We recognize that a student that feels safe is going to excel at the highest level, and that is what we strive for day in and day out.
The students I met with last night said that they were extremely scared and they were begging for more security. I went back through some of our stories dating back to last spring and even fall of last year with students asking for the same thing. They constantly feel like there's not enough security at New Hampstead High. Is this the first time this has been brought to your attention?
Well, you have to take into account that security is a definition that is different for many. We've listened to the students and we've heard things, and we looked at things from access control to perimeter control to monitoring who's coming in and out of the building to the way the building is built, to looking at vestibules in the front office of the front entry of the school to force people into the front office. So security has a number of levels of meaning, but we've listened to everything that the students have said. We've recognized that when you see incidents like this that come out, know again that we have to look at them as a case-by-case scenario. If we do see trends, we'll respond to that. But everything that we've seen has been primarily isolated case-by-case scenarios, and they've been dealt with. This is a situation, we're starting off the new school year. We started off this school year with a commitment to the community, a commitment to our parents and our students that safety and security is a priority of ours. We've responded very quickly with increased SRO presence who will remain there for a number of weeks. We are updating and going through a threat assessment at the school as well. And we're going as far as looking at just simple things and operationally that we can control in the schoolhouse on the school day. From transitions in the hallways and how that's managed, the amount of time that students are in the hallways. But more importantly, really speaking to the core of it, which is making good choices and positive behavior impacts that help ensure a positive learning environment and also set the foundation for students to have a successful experience in our schools so they're fully prepared when they move on and go to college or careers.
Any idea how many kids were actually involved that are facing disciplinary action? Are we talking a dozen, more than that?
I don't have an exact number. It's less than a dozen. I don't have an exact number on that, but it is a small number of individuals. We have identified all individuals who were involved in this incident, and as I said, they will be dealt with, and will be dealt with to our full administrative ability as we continue to investigate. And we're investigating it with a criminal eyeglass. We're looking at the behaviors very closely, and we're doing all that we can. It's important to know that the Student Code of Conduct is there for a reason. We talked about that yesterday. We put out the fact that it's important for parents to review the Student Code of Conduct with their students, because we have all levels of discipline laid out in the schools, we have all levels of discipline laid out in the Student Code of Conduct that go all the way up to a level 3 infraction. So incidents like this can lead to a full expulsion, and that's a very serious matter for any student or any parent.
Kurt, I'm sure you're aware, and the district is aware, that yesterday's incident is not an isolated incident at New Hampstead. There have been, to my knowledge, a number of instances that have happened in the past school year. What is being addressed? Because there is a pattern of behavior that's documented with these students becoming violent. What can you say, and how can you address those concerns that parents may have and address the pattern of behavior, and why are these kids fighting?
Well, first thing I'd like to say is that we've identified those involved, and we're working to get to the root cause of the behavior. And the biggest part of that for us is our campus police department working directly with and engaged with the parents and the guardians of the students that are involved. We have reviewed and looked at data drives good decisions as well. Data helps us inform good decisions. We've looked at those. We do have to look at it with the eyeglass of a case-by-case scenario. This is a new school year. We've started this school year off just on August 2nd. We're into it with this incident here at New Hampstead High School, and we're taking it very, very seriously. As I've indicated, we have a threat assessment going on at the school. We're working closely with all the administrators at the school as well. Some of the things we're trying to really instill as we go through this is safety and security, as it's about positive behavior in the hallways and the school climate in the hallways, is also about control, and it's about access control, and it's about knowing who's coming into your buildings. It's about knowing your student body very well. We have some 1,300 students that attend New Hampstead High School as one of our biggest schools in the district. So we continue to keep our finger on that pulse, but we have to look at each incident very closely, and we do look at them on case-by-case scenario, and if there are trends that exhibit, we respond to that. So far right now, getting into the new school year, we've had a wonderful open to our school year. Our schools are operating very efficiently and effectively. This again is a small number of students that made bad decisions that resulted in consequences that will be dealt with for these students, and by in no way is it representative of the full student body at New Hampstead High School.
And let's go back to the security again just one more time. The students that I talked to yesterday, and kind of playing off of him, they don't believe this is an isolated instance. They're scared to this point so much because it is reoccurring, and they tell me that, again, they don't have enough security. They tell me that students, once they're expelled, they come right back in their cars. They're 16, they have licenses. I understand there's a metal detector at the front of the school, but they have access points in the parking lot, the bus entrances, and can go right in. This is according to students. And I watched that video yesterday. One of those security officers just get battered by these students, just overtaken. I know y'all are putting more presence for the next couple of weeks, but what's the long-term solution here if kids are continuing to beg for help?
Well, it's access control, it's knowing who's in your building, and it's knowing that we have a right ratio of safety officers and individuals who are in the hallways. Again, 1,300 students, it's a large body, it's one of our largest high schools. We have to look at that closely. We do have additional 4 security officers, SROs, that will be stationed at the school for the coming weeks. But it really comes down also to staff training. We're working closely with our school administrators for things that they can do to ensure that positive educational climate maintains not only in the classroom but throughout the hallways and after school and before school, from arrival to dismissal. Not only training the administrators, but ensuring that that training gets all the way out through the staff. We have schools that have a large staff as well. And it's important that everyone knows that when they see something, they should say something. Never take an opportunity, if you see something that makes you uncomfortable, if you see something that is suspicious, to report it to an administrator, report it to the school SRO, or call our campus police department at our main line. You can also, we have a partnership with Campus Crime Stoppers, where we have a tip line. You can call 234-2020 and report it that way. So it's important that in working in a collaborative effect with our students, with our parents, with our staff as well, they know that anytime they see something that makes them uncomfortable, that they can certainly report that information, and it will get to the right place, and certainly will take action on it.
Your message, Kurt, to parents who may have seen or will see this video.
The main point we want to illustrate is that we have identified all of those that were involved in this, and we're taking the appropriate action. It's important that our parents are able to work with us as well and understand that there is a process to maintaining good order in the schoolhouse. We need that support. We need them to help reinforce good positive behavior so that students are making good decisions. We're taking this very seriously and have added additional safety officers at the school, going through a threat assessment, working directly with the parents and the guardians of all of those who are involved. And our goal is, again, that every day that through across all 55 schools in Chatham County, that we're doing the things that ensure that there is a positive, safe learning environment. Our schools, they're open. They sit in the center of the community. We want to have welcoming environments. They're open to the extent that as you're scheduling appointments and coming into the schoolhouse, we're working with individuals that are coming in and out and that have a reason to be there. But when you're managing a large base of students, there are a lot of logistical components that we have to look at and stay vigilant at. So it's from administrative training down to the staff training, down to the environments that we have in our schools, and also to peer training with our students. Working with our students to know that they have a voice in this as well, and they have, as role models, they have a positive influence on others as well. Key to know, as we have stated, small number of individuals involved in this incident. We've identified them. We're taking appropriate actions per our student code of conduct and the discipline levels that we have laid out in the student code of conduct. And this activity is certainly not representative of the entire school body of New Hampstead High School.
One other question, it dawned on me as I watched that tape. It looked like there were several teachers, like you said, jumped in to help. It seemed like a very dangerous situation for them. I mean, were there anyone injured in that, or what kind of feedback are you getting from those educators who went from, you know, I'm going to be teaching in a few minutes to they look like bouncers in a nightclub, you know, breaking up a fight?
Well, it's certainly disruptive to the school day. It's a situation where it's unfortunate that students made bad decisions that resulted in the actions that they took. It's not condoned by the school district, and we are here to provide supports for all of our schools. We're here to provide supports for our teachers. We have an extensive academic affairs department that has secondary governance, that has elementary and secondary governance, school leadership that works closely with our administrators, and that funnels down into working with our schools as well. It's important that even if a staff member feels that they're in an unsafe environment, that they're reporting that. Again, if they see something, they should say something, and they can report it to an administrator or campus police. We have an ethics hotline that they can call. The campus Crime Stoppers tip line is also valuable. But teachers, as they get into the profession, we all want the same thing. We want a good, positive learning environment where our students are coming out with the tools they need to succeed. We recognize our teachers are coming into the classroom to do that, but they also have the authority to direct students for the safety of students. And we understand that in looking at the video, there was a lot of activity there. There were a lot of students that were grouped around it. It appeared that much of the activity was isolated between a number of students, and some of that was creating an attractant in the hallway. Having those additional SRO officers that we're going to put there for the next couple of weeks, we believe is going to have a very positive reaction to this. Their presence alone, seeing the additional school resource officers there, is a deterrent as well. But we want to remind all of our students, we want to remind all of our parents and guardians, it's very important for our students when they're in the schoolhouse to be making good decisions that are representative of the standards of behavior that we expect from all of our students across Chatham County Public Schools. Activity like this, there's no place for it in the schoolhouse. We do not condone it, and it will be dealt with.
Students, parents, staff, officers that I spoke to yesterday tell me that it is no secret that what is going on yesterday and in the past is all gang related. They tell me these kids have handkerchiefs in their pockets. They're very prideful of it, and it's very evident. What is the school system's message about that?
Well, part of our approach in this situation, and really in any situation, is to investigate all angles of it. So looking at group affiliations and things of that nature is part of that threat assessment that we're doing. It's part of that investigation that we're doing. We are very careful because we understand and recognize how important it is to have a very thorough investigation, one that is fact-based, before making any sort of determination like that. We don't have in our investigations anything that supports a final determination to say that there is a gang problem, but we recognize that we need to be looking very closely at that and monitoring that. That's something that as a district we have, as I said in our threat assessments, the ability to be able to do that type of thing. And we also have interagency relationships. So we're looking to other agencies for supports. We're sharing information with other agencies so that we can make good data-driven decisions. But right now, as what we're looking at this particular situation is we've got to go through and thoroughly investigate it before any type of categorical statement like that is made. As we said before, we look at the incidents that have been occurring, we've seen them, we've dealt with them, we've provided discipline matters. This one really, it certainly does heighten the need to continue to do that. And we are, as I said, to the level of conducting a full threat assessment and having those additional SRO officers there. But we can't go and definitively say that there's a gang problem. We're looking closely at indicators for that. That terminology in many instances has different meaning for some groups. We recognize that as well. What we know here is that a small group of students exhibited behavior that has no place in the schoolhouse. We've identified them and we're dealing with them.
Did any of the students in yesterday's incident admit to a gang affiliation?
I do not have knowledge of that.